This is a podcast from the Queen City Podcast Network.
Welcome to Nerd Skool.
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Yeah.
Suck it, nerds!
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Suck it, nerds!
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Suck it, nerds!
Visit me, daddy ass.
Welcome to Nerd Skool.
My name is Low Key. Welcome to the Nerd Skool podcast. You jerk.
All right. This is the next Black Panther.
You probably didn't know this, but you demanded it. You demanded. And you demanded.
The listeners demanded this. The listeners demanded this. You spoke and we listened, listeners.
You've wanted this. You've wanted this for a long time. We brought it back. We brought it back.
That's right. That's
The
right.
Rock and Roll Express of the Nerd Skool are off the chains.
That's right. You asked for it,
Chains have been
folks.
cut loose.
You chose your two favorite people on this podcast by far. And you wouldn't shut up. And you said, we want the Rock and Roll Express of this Nerd Skool podcast to do an episode.
Guess what, baby?
Black Panther.
You got it.
You got it. It's just Art and Joe talking about Black Panther, everybody.
Or whatever else.
Andy is busy exploring parts of his body he's not really familiar with.
Using his toes at that.
He's using his toes to search his orify. And TBJ, again, she's
Out
being
being a superstar.
She's being like a Sith
Superstar.
secret, because she's like, I will be off the grid for a week, and I'm not telling anybody where I'm going. So she's a spy. And maybe she told you.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, where she is.
Nah, she didn't tell me. She
She
probably
said-
told the world.
She said she's off the grid. She said, I'm off the grid for a week, so you're on your own, idiots.
No standing and practices.
So yeah, yes, they no HR department in Nerd Skool this week. So we're gonna just screw around. We're gonna just randomly talk about Black Panther. We're not gonna go through the movie like we will with everybody. When everybody's back, we'll do that. But I am gonna just bring up some random things. I do have one question, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, Artstar. I'm assuming you
Maybe I
will.
do. Maybe I don't.
My big question at the beginning, it's something I kind of stumbled upon, is
Mhm.
So I understand that Nakia, who is Black Panther's love interest, we'll get into that in a little bit. You know, when the next episode we'll get into their love interest and everything, but she's on a mission, and he's got to extract her kind of on a mission, and messes up the mission sort of that she's on. Really, this was I felt like this was a very close parallel to when they bring Scarlett Johansson, when they have to go get her, and she's in the middle of a mission, like, you know, interrogating guys, even though she's tied up.
Right.
A similar thing. Like, she's like, you screwed it up. I was about to kill all these guys. I'm like, you were tied up in a van. And she was like, no, I had this. But anyway, she is part of, I saw something online where she was part of, at least in the comics, a group called the War Dogs.
Yeah, the War Dogs.
And there's several different people that are part of that.
Well, you know,
group.
that also in this movie, they do mention the War Dogs.
I feel like they mentioned the War Dogs at some point,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
what can you tell me about the War Dogs in comics?
I don't know a
and
lot
who-
about the War Dogs.
Oh shit!
I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about the War. I can tell you that the Midnight Angels are different. Well, no, now I'm mixing movies.
Oh
I'm
no!
mixing movies.
Without Andy here to
I'm
correct
Wakanda
you
forever in this movie, and it's not Wakanda forever.
and Andy's
But-
not. Oh, see,
but
you're gonna get
it's-
mixed up because you've seen that and I haven't.
Right. But it's pretty much kind of sort of the same premise where you have, like, you know, they're giving shout out to stuff that happened in the comics, and I mean, Marvel does this with all of that shit, right? Like, you have like different versions. Like, you know, Andy last episode talked about how Everett Ross is different than the Everett Ross that we see in Black Panther comics.
Yeah.
So it's like you have the War Dogs being a different variation than they are
So
in
according
this
to
movie.
the internet, the War Dogs in Marvel are the Central Intelligence Service of Wakanda.
Right.
See, I guess I thought it was a whole different thing in Marvel, but and there's that War Dogs tattoo, that blue tattoo they have on their inner lip is the War Dogs tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see what it says in the. So there's the Marvel Cinematic Universe wiki, which I guess is different than a comics wiki, but it says the War Dogs are. Yeah, that's central. Oh, this website just pops up ads left and right.
I fucking hate ads.
It's awful. But I guess that's who Njobu and those guys, like they're the ones who are stationed in
Outside, like they're not
in
they're
LA in
doing,
Oakland.
Yeah,
Not
but
LA,
they're doing things for Wakanda outside of Wakanda. Basically, the CIA, right?
They're like undercover, checking
right.
out what's out in the world.
Right. So they have war dogs, and like in the movie they mentioned they're war dogs all over the world.
Yeah. So they are. So Wakanda, even though, so that's where I was confused about this, because they say Wakanda is like not interacting with the outside world. They're hidden. They're just kind of staying alone, not letting anybody know what they have. But they have these war dogs out checking out stuff.
Right.
So they are all over the world. So
yeah, they're not letting people know what's going on in Wakanda, but that means they still need to be kept abreast of what's going on outside of the world encompassing Wakanda, because you want to be on the know when shit happens right outside your front door. Even though people don't know that they're right outside your front door, you still want to know what's happening right outside your front door, right?
You got to know, I guess.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell from what I'm Googling, War Dogs, I guess, aren't in comics. I guess it's just the cinematic universe. So this might have been something that's just, I don't know, Marvel War Dogs in comics? Like, how do you, or maybe it was in the, okay, War Dogs, a.k.a. Hatut Zarazi, a.k.a. the Dogs of War, Secret Police, were created by writer Christopher Priest and Black Panther, Volume 3, Number 3, dating back to 1999. Okay, so it is from the comic. So I guess maybe that was something I was a little confused about, the War Dogs at the beginning. I thought it was more a different group, but I think Nakia, I keep on saying Nakia because that's how Brent P says it on. He's got me messed up on that. But so I think that was one thing. I was like, who are they? So the young Sterling K. Brown is one of the War Dogs. Like, he's stationed in Oakland. And then one thing is, I was watching with Oakland, the whole thing in Oakland happening in my brain. I'm terrible at geography. I've always thought Oakland and LA were like this synonymous. Like, Oakland's part of LA, Oakland's in LA, Oaktown is just like outside of LA or near there. In my brain, all of that's all in one. And San Francisco's like farther up the coast, but Oakland's way up by San Francisco. Like, it's way up.
Oakland and San Francisco.
They're
if you want to do that whole synonymous thing, Oakland and San Francisco are synonymous because they're separated by the bridge, which
just that
famously
little bridge
partially collapsed in the '89 World Series.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that was the bridge, that San Francisco bridge. Like, I think that it was the San Francisco bridge. I didn't realize Oakland was way up there. And then I was looking at the map, and San Diego's way down. San Diego's basically LA. So the Chargers moving LA is not that far.
I think I think when we may have mentioned when we had my little interview thing, I was like, me and a friend of mine used to always say that we want to go to San Diego, and we used to watch Sanford and Son growing up.
Oh, Sanford!
Like, I don't know if you ever watched, like, so Sanford and Son, Lamont and his friend Rallo, they used to always go and, like, they, it was in San Diego. They would go down to San Diego, and then they'd walk into Tijuana.
Yeah, because
they
could
strip
walk
clubs
to...
and things. So we used to always say, when we're old enough, we're going to fly to San Diego and then walk to Tijuana and go to strip clubs. We never did, but
well,
Sanford
still can.
Rallo made it seem cool.
Okay, so they thought it was cool.
I
you were
aware
aware
to go to Mexico right now
of how far south San Diego. I don't know why I always thought San Diego was up by San Francisco. I guess all the sands, because there's like sand.
California is a country all on its own.
It really is.
Like,
it's so far.
That's
so
a big
far.
state.
Yeah, that's right. You go from San Francisco to LA, and that's like going 4 states in our, in our geography, where we are on the East Coast. But yeah, as I was looking at this stuff, I was trying to just get a picture. Well, first of all, I was trying to see during the Oakland basketball scenes when those kids are playing basketball. Is MC Hammer anywhere around there? And then I fell down a rabbit hole because I was like, well, this was 1992 in Oakland. Where was Hammer? Did we know Hammer yet? Was he popular yet? And I was like,
So
oh yeah, he was
basically, you're trying
popular.
to figure out whether or not MC Hammer is in the MCU.
Yes, exactly, because he's from Oaktown 357.
Right.
And 92, Too Legit to Quit was already out. Like he already had several albums. And then I fell down an MC Hammer rabbit hole, and I didn't realize that he was in the Navy. Like he was in the Navy in the 70s. Like he grew up way before all this. So he was older in the 90s. And so, and that he was like a Christian rapper before he even made it. He was like he had a bunch of rap songs about God and stuff. I fell down this whole MC Hammer rabbit hole just because of Black Panther. And then I got in that mode of Wikipedia random trivia about people. So Sterling K. Brown, you know who that is, right?
Right.
He plays who's he play in the movie? What's his character's name? Is he in Jobu?
That's he's
because in the beginning of that,
he's the uncle. He's the uncle that gets killed by the father and lied to. Who
Forrest Whitaker's the brother. He's the uncle, and Njobu is his character's name.
Njobu was Forrest Whitaker.
No, that's Zuri.
No, hold on. See, now you confusing me. Because now, okay.
Forrest Whitaker is Zuri. He says, "I am Zuri, son of Badu."
Right.
And Jobu is Killmonger's dad, Michael B. Jordan's dad.
Right. Killmonger's dad. Right.
And Jobu,
but you know what?
Played by Sterling K. Brown.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
the kid. I don't want to say that he's not a kid now, but Forrest Whitaker's character is actually played by Denzel Whitaker.
No way, really?
Yeah. That's the kid that had the thing
that plays young Zuri.
Yes. His name is Denzel Whitaker. But it's weird because he's been in a movie like little 6 Degrees of Separation. He's been in a movie with Denzel Washington that also had Forrest Whitaker in it.
And he
was in The Great Debaters.
And he is Forrest Whitaker's son?
No, he's not his real. No, he's not his son. It's just
he's not his son.
Irony that his name is Denzel Whitaker.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and here's pictures of him online when he was younger. He started his career as a child actor in Training Day.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Training Day?
Oh yeah, with Denzel.
Oh my God! But he's not. He's not Forrest Whitaker's son. So you're right. He was born in Torrance, California, the son of Yolanda and Dale Whitaker. He went to Palos Verdes Peninsula High School, home of the Fighting. What's the matter? The Fighting Panthers, the Black and Gold Panthers of Palos
You know what
Verdes
you would
High
be
School.
good. You know what it'd be like. Like, let's say if one day we did decide to say, you know what, the Nerd Skool is doing a comic book, right?
Yeah.
But it would be like, characters that we've created. You would be good making up the history for these characters.
History of the characters, like what school they went to,
like
make up.
like that's your thing. Like I think we've discussed this before when you guys was talking about like toys and things of that nature. But like,
if we're gonna make a comic book,
no,
the backup, like the GI Joe like, file cards,
right? But like, so I was watching. Segueing, but I was watching.
We're always gonna be segueing.
A couple of Sundays ago, Ethan Page, who's all ego, Egan Page. Ethan Page, who's all ego, Ethan Page from AEW Wrestling,
Oh,
Grant's
wow.
favorite promotion.
I'm
But
out
he
of that
does
one. I don't know.
he does weekly toy hunts.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so he just did one with the Ass Boys.
I thought you said Danhausen is the toy hunting guy.
He does all of them dudes do it.
All the wrestlers
And
are toy hunters?
that's a lot of them. Like Ethan Page, him, Danhausen, and Brody King. They call themselves the Goro Bros. They do a lot of toy hunts together. Anywho, he just did
Anywho.
but usually his toy hunts come out of them doing, like, you know how they do appearances. So they may be at some toy store doing an appearance like
Yeah.
right before a show.
Yeah, they'll
So he'll-
sign autographs and whatever.
So he'll do toy hunts out of that. So him and the Ass Boys.
Mr. Ass's children. Those of you who
Right.
don't know about wrestling, there was a wrestler named Mr. Ass, and now he's got two
Well,
children
about Ass Man.
that are wrestlers, and they're called the Ass Boys.
Well, they call it Gun Club, but Danhausen coined them the Ass Boys.
Oh, he did. And then people will yell things to Mr. Ass now because he's daddy ass because he's got two kids.
Sister me daddy ass.
And they'll yell sister me daddy ass, I guess. And that's why when every time Art yells that, I want to put it at the beginning credits of
Yeah,
Nerd Skool. I
so
think it's in there now. Yeah.
yeah, it is. But like, so they were talking about growing up as kids,
Yeah.
playing with toys and things,
Yeah.
and how they would actually have, like, they would build set pieces and things, but then they would actually go in and create storylines. And it's like, you think about it, like, as kids, that's what we always did. We always,
Oh yeah.
we create a storyline, create a back history.
Yeah,
Long
Andy
story
and
short-
I did some really serious playing as we were older. It was probably when we were too old to be playing with toys, like we shouldn't be playing anymore. When we're like developing big long storylines and like yelling, "Cut! Okay, now my turn, and I take over." And now and we would. My favorite thing to do was when we mixed all the genres together. Like you got a big pile of Star Wars, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Care Bears, Knight Rider,
Strawberry shortcake,
yeah,
whatever.
Well, we didn't have
Purple Power
have
Man
sisters
jumps
like
out.
you, but you had everything, and you just mix them
Right.
all together, and then you just mix and match. It could be like Trap Jaw and Cobra Commander are on a mission to
Versus
destroy
Mech and Neck and Beastman.
and right. It could be versus
But see, like
Andre
see,
the
I
Giant
think-
and whatever.
you like all of it, like the extra minutia backstory.
I love
Like,
minutia.
I feel like you really diving in. You love diving into that.
I'm fascinated by where people grew up. Like, there's something to me about like the school I went to and the high school I went to was so tiny and small that there was. I know you knew every single kid from 3 grades below you and 3 grades above you. I still know them all and what they're all doing. I could probably tell you what almost everybody in my class is doing now and what their jobs, whatever. So, but to me,
Right.
I'm also fascinated by the fact that the only thing we had in common is the geography of where our parents fucked. Like all our parents happened to get pregnant and fuck at the same time and had us. And then that's where we went to school. And it's the people we happen to go to school with. And now we're like interlocked sort of for life that affects you. Like things people said to me affected me and things I said to other people, we affected each other by being around each other. And it's just all by chance. And that blows my mind. And then, so just to think like, and everybody knows like what famous people went to their school. Like nobody went to my school, but the fact that Denzel Whitaker went to the same school as Jay Billis from ESPN, that's something you
That
now
excites
know.
you.
Palos Verdes
Like,
Peninsula High School, home of the
awesome.
Panthers.
Right.
And then you picture it, like he probably knew that going to school. Maybe he didn't know it, or who knows. But and everybody had a team mascot. Everybody wore their team colors. Sometimes, some people didn't give a shit about it, but just the fact there's all these schools all over the world that are making people be who they are. Like you are who you are based on how you grew up, partly, and you grow and change, and it's all everybody.
Right.
And it doesn't stop when you're a kid, but those are formative years. But it's also like I feel like everybody you interact with throughout your life, it's like a journey, and you are affected a certain way. Like the four of us on this Nerd School podcast. I think we're
Mhm.
different people
Right.
since we started this podcast. Not like drastically, we're all still already formed people, but like this has affected us in a different way. Like we know each other
Right.
definitely more than we did 4 years ago or whatever when we started. That's for 3 or I don't know how long we're doing it. It's not 4 years, but it's 3 years or whatever. And like we find ourselves learning and growing from each. I don't know. I guess I don't know what I'm exactly. I guess people's backstories is funny to me. Like just to read that and hear that, and I love Wikipedia that it's got
Right.
everybody's early life. It's got their birthdays, where they were born, how they
And
grew
then
up.
see, and then the way that I am, like I love knowing that stuff as well.
Yeah,
But I'd want my Wikipedia page to be like 3 sentences, right?
yeah.
Because like
Just,
it,
you want to
I,
keep it secret?
it's not even secret. Like I love, to me, it's like I've always felt like I like having that mysterious nature.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah,
people don't, like people automatically assume things about me. So when I can sit there and show them things, they'll be like, "Oh wow," I
yeah.
didn't know that. Like,
I had
so
no
to me, it's
idea
like,
art had 3 nipples.
right. So you was looking through my Wikipedia page, and you'd be like, "Oh wait, what? He does what? That makes no sense. That's not that guy." But then it'd be like, "I am that guy." So
Well, how big does Nerd School have to get us a Wikipedia page?
I don't know.
It's got to
I
get
mean,
bigger than it is.
because I think you can actually, can't you? Wikipedia is like people can add, you can add and remove shit on your own, right?
Well, I
Isn't-
think you have to become a Wikipedia editor, and I think there's some criteria to become an editor. I don't think it's super
Mhm.
hard criteria. I think we probably could both do it. I don't know what the criteria is. What I love about
Or
things
we could just
like
create a wiki. Just just this is the Nerd School wiki.
there's our own wiki for the thing we've created.
Right.
So this kid, Denzel Dominic Whitaker, was born in 1990. I guess he's not a kid anymore. He's 32. But
Mhm.
I love little like trivia facts about him. So he was a member on Nickelodeon's All That, which I don't know what that is, between 2004 2005.
Well, all that was like almost like the kids' version of In Living Color.
Oh, it was like
There were a
sketch
lot
show?
of little, I don't want to say little, but a lot of actors and actresses that came out of all that.
Okay. So when he was acting as a teenager, he did his schoolwork via email. And according to Wikipedia, he was named after actor Denzel Washington, but Whitaker disputed that fact on the Oprah Winfrey Show while promoting the movie The Great Debaters, only to learn later from his father that, in fact, Denzel Washington was his namesake. That's where he got his name.
Can you imagine going on Oprah and saying that that's not true?
That's not
true at
true.
all.
That's not where I got my
Like
name.
you're on Oprah saying it's not true.
And then your
And then come
dad
to find
says,
out it is.
"Yeah, it is true."
Well, actually, son.
Yeah. So, he voiced somebody on the Boondocks and on Black Dynamite, the animated series. He played Donald the Accountant.
Dynamite. That was a cool show. Like Dynamite.
Here's the other thing. Every time I look on anybody's anything, I find all this stuff that I didn't know existed.
Right.
Shows that
That's
I
the way I
haven't
used to
watched.
be when I used to look, like whenever I would like look for like I hear something about some movie and I jump on IMDb.
Yeah.
And I always found myself looking at like
There's so
the
many
trivia
movies.
based on like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting,
The trivia is the best. I mean, that alone, that's something we could get sidetracked on. We can just check out the Black Panther trivia and go through that on IMDb, which I'm kind of on there now. But the other couple different little things I'll do. Well, Sterling K. Brown is what I was starting with, who played in Jobu. He went to the Mary Institute in St. Louis Country Day School, home of the Rams, and he went to the same school as Joe Buck and Vincent Price. So he's from St. Louis, where my wife's from. And I meant to ask her, like, hey, do you know St. Louis Country Day School? What's it like? But I think it's a very like fancy, rich people school.
Does she know Joe Buck?
My wife?
Uh-huh.
She knew Jack Buck's name better than Joe Buck because she grew up like Cardinals, listen to Cardinals games and stuff. My wife doesn't like sports at all, but she has said on the American Timelines podcast that she watched the World Series when the Cardinals were in it. And I was like, why did you watch the World Series? You would never watch the World Series now. She was like, we had 3 channels. Like I had to watch something. So yeah, we didn't have the internet. I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have 800 murder podcasts to listen to. There's nothing else to do back then. And then Forrest Whitaker went to Palisades Charter High School, which was at the same school we just talked about. That was a different Palisades, home of the Dolphins. Yeah, it's not the.
Well, that they're like some of these schools' names, like it'll be in this state, that state, this small, like they'll all be named after this James Woods High School.
James Woods High School. That's from is that Family Guy?
Family Guy, yeah. But it's just
James Woods.
It's the James Wood High School in every small city in America.
There you go. Well, there is or some of those old presidents, Franklin Pierce High School or whatever, some of those old presidents nobody even knows anymore. Anyway, Forrest Whitaker went to the same school as Will I Am, Katie Seagal, and Susanna Hoffs from the Bengals. Do you know who Susanna Hoffs is, Artstar?
I know the Bengals. I don't know her, but I know
she's the hot
name.
one.
I'm
Walk like an Egyptian.
She's the hot one.
You know who Katie Seagal is.
Oh yeah, I know Katie.
From Married with Children.
In your world, is Katie Seagal related to Steven Seagal?
Yes, they are the same person. Maybe not. I don't know. But Forrest Whitaker was home of the Dolphins, and Susanna Hoffs. I wonder if they knew each other. Are they the same age? I don't know. We could look that up. And then Chadwick Boseman himself was. You know where he was born? Do you know about him? He's a local guy.
I know about Mr. Boseman.
You know everything about him?
I don't know everything about him.
You know what?
He played a really good. He played. TBJ mentioned this last episode.
Yeah.
His James Brown, his Thurgood Marshall, and his Jackie Robinson. Phenomenal.
Yeah, he's played
phenomenal.
Big, and he's. I thought he was British because he does such a good. I mean, his African accent in Black Panther,
he has really good enunciation.
Really good.
He had a really good. What is it? Speech coach? Is that what actors have? Do you guys get speech coaches?
A vocal coach, I think they call him.
Well, like let's say if you have to speak in a different language,
dialect
coach, yeah,
dialect coach, yeah. So I was shocked that he wasn't British because I think the other guy in this is British. The guy who plays
that guy,
the guy that's in everything now.
The guy that's in everything.
Daniel Kaluuya Wakabi. He plays Wakabi. Yeah. He's British.
Yeah, he's British.
But Chadwick Boseman was born in Anderson, South Carolina, not far from here, from Charlotte. Graduated from T.I. Hannah High School. And what year did he graduate? We want to guess? Without Googling it, what year did he graduate high school?
Let me see. 94.
Ah, close. You're so close. 95. Yep. You're confusing him with me. I'm class of 94.
What's that? Just kind of trying to figure out
how old he was.
Well, I know how old he was, but like trying to 18 range. Yeah. I'm thinking it's 94, 95. I went with 94.
He played on the basketball team in high school at T.I. Hannah High School, home of the Yellow Jackets. He went to the same school as Jim Rice and Martavius Bryant. Did you know Jim Rice? Aren't you a big Jim Rice fan?
Yeah, I was a big Jim. Actually, Jim Rice, a couple of years ago was one of the hardest cards to use in MLB The Show.
Okay, so MLB The Show, a little sidetrack here. How are cards involved? Like it's a video game to play where you're playing baseball.
Well, it's like
you have to collect cards,
right? But it's like Snap. So, like in Snap, you know that there's
Marvel Snap,
not a sponsor. we wish they were a sponsor, but not a sponsor.
Love Marvel Snap. We're all addicted to Marvel Snap. All of us nerds.
But so there's a shit ton of cards that you can get, but you don't have them off top, right?
Yeah, so
So
it's
you
kind of
have
like
to earn these
Madden,
cards.
like Madden Ultimate Team.
It's
in
just like
Madden, right?
Ultimate Team,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like Madden Ultimate Team.
Okay, I
But
get it.
so basically, once you like, and it's weird because there's all of this weird video game lingo, like the cards cracked or the cards OP.
Oh, I don't
But
know what
like,
that means. I don't know what
well,
any of that
crack
means.
means it's like they'll say like, and like I said in basketball, like let's say a basketball video game, if
Yeah.
the card is really good, they'll say that the card's a cheat code. So
Okay.
like in the
I've heard
baseball
cheat
game,
code and like beast or like cheat
beast
code.
mode,
I've
cheat
heard that
code.
as a nickname for a football player, something that's really unbelievable. Like that guy's faster than everybody. It's cheat code. I've heard that.
Right.
So what's the crack?
But like crack is like, let's say if this card, no matter what, he getting a hit, he going yard, if he hard to get out, he cracked. And going yard means it's a home run. That's when you go yard, you
go
know, you
yard.
home
Yeah,
run.
I've heard that makes sense to me.
But
Humdinger?
right, yeah,
Does anybody say
so
humdinger anymore? That's a humdinger.
nah. But it's like the card. So the
Nah, like a
cards,
stupid question.
like let's say if you get like a live series card, right? And let's say if the player is having, that like let's say they went 0 for 4 today.
Yeah.
In real life,
Yes.
in the game, if the card it'll affect the way the card's
Yeah. So
performance.
the video
in
game is
game.
that smart online that it knows what's happening in the real
Well,
world.
they have
So
someone.
Jim Rice, if Jim Rice came out of retirement, or probably
If
back
he
to
came
life,
out of
he's probably not
retirement,
even-
his card would be shitty. And
he's
they made him a live series card, it would be shitty.
But his card is good because he was a legend and he was good when he played, right? But you were
Right,
saying his
but then
card
you
is the
also got
hardest
to
to get.
realize, no, it was hardest to play with because of his swing. Like it's this game is all about timing, right?
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
all about timing.
That's what baseball
So,
is.
Yeah, and like like some people, Brad P. Fundak,
Yes.
it's like they would
Shout
say
out to
how
Brad P. Fundak, our listeners. You
they
don't know
can
who
see
Brad P.
how that would
Fundak is.
translate, how that would translate over into a video game. But it's like, let's say for instance, if you're drunk, right? Your hand-eye coordination is fucking off. So if you're sitting there trying to play, and let's say for instance, like last night, I wasn't drunk, but like
You
last
were
night I was
drunk.
playing, and I was playing it was a Tops Now moment where
Yeah.
I had to face Felix Bautista, the Mountain. He's a Baltimore Oriole closer. He's a Baltimore Oriole closer.
We're getting
Dude
so
can
off
hit
topic.
on a regular like
Yeah.
104 miles an hour. Right?
Okay. So in real
Fastball.
life, you mean the real guy, not the video game guy.
The real guy, right? But the game, it does that. So in the game, so I'm sitting there, it's the bottom of the ninth, and I'm trying to get on base. And if I ain't got this card that I'm playing with, I don't know how to hit with him, right? So
Yeah,
if I
you
don't
gotta
have
practice.
this timing down,
So each
this dude throws
player bats differently.
each player bats different. Like
So if you're
they
playing the
actually-
game, so you're playing the game as the Baltimore Orioles, and
Mhm.
Cal Ripken
Cal
gets
Ripken.
up to bat, right? And you're
He
playing
has-
him.
and it's
He's
Cal
gonna be.
Ripken's
You're
stance.
gonna have to utilize him differently than you utilize, say,
Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray.
Everyone else's
Yeah, 'cause
favorite
the stance
Baltimore
is
Oriole.
different.
So when Eddie
So
Murphy
it's
gets
like-
up, then you
Eddie
have to.
Murphy. Eddie Murphy.
I said Murphy. I did. I watched a lot of old SNL. Then you have to adjust your
You have
play.
to adjust.
You have to adjust your play to play
Mhm.
Eddie Murray. That seems
Exactly.
way too
Just like-
complicated and way too hard. And why I
But
don't
it's,
like
I mean,
video
it's just
games.
like if you play Madden,
I put
it's
it
like
on
you
the
had like
rookie.
if you
I put on rookie mode and I just
right, you play on
dominate.
rookie, but like
I'm
let's
9
say
touchdowns a
let's say
game.
you choose let's say but let's say you jump online, right?
Yeah.
and
Oh
you
yeah. Then I get my
playing-
ass kicked.
Right. So you're sitting there, you have to say, okay, well, this team plays this way against that team. I know if I try to run it up the middle, his D is going to be looking for that. So
Yeah.
now you got to start looking for A gaps and B gaps. So it ends up becoming like it's pure simulation.
Yeah.
And it's like literally like I'll watch people play this game on Twitch
Yeah.
and I'll be like, man, like I played a ranked game yesterday and I forgot if you play a ranked game, you literally have to play all 9 innings. I won 2
You
to 1.
can't turn it off.
But it was like, right, because if you turn it off, you get you start 0-1 in ranked season, and that
When
shit
you're
counts.
when you're
So,
playing
like,
a
I'm-
stranger online, do you ever kind of wonder if they're naked?
I'm sure they probably listen. I play like I play on the Switch. I play on the Switch, right?
So what you're saying is you play naked on the toilet.
No, this is what I want to say. Like, let's say if I'm playing someone else who's also playing on the Switch. For all I know, they could be on the toilet taking the shit while they're playing the game. Like, there are memes online where people are like, I got me a Switch so I can play games while I'm taking the shit. You know, like,
And it
as
only
you know,
took
Artstar
40.
takes no electronic.
How many minutes into this podcast did it take for us to talk about shitting? That's gonna be amazing. Like TBJ will be amazed we went this long. I don't know how long we've been on here. I'll have to look later, but
And we didn't talk about shit.
it's like almost it's more than a half an hour in, and we just now started talking about
Yeah.
shit, and all because we brought up
shit
Jim.
just came up.
All because Chadwick
Jim
Boseman
Rice-
went to
Jim
the same
Rice.
school as Jim Rice,
And Jim Rice.
Martavis Bryant. All because of Jim
And
Rice.
Martavis Bryant, who's been having a really good really good season in the XFL.
He plays in the XFL. So
He might
why
end
is
up
he
back in
playing? Why is he playing the XFL? What happened to Martavis Bryant? He was a flop. He just never made it. I thought he was good in the NFL.
I think he
can't
just
remember.
kept getting cut off of different teams.
Yeah, he just so maybe he'll come back and this is.
But
what
he's
he
been
needed.
making some unbelievable catches. I think he played for the St. Louis Battle Cats. I think that's what they call it.
whatever they're called.
Something battle takes. I don't know.
Well, Jim Rice, I
Some
wanted.
weird name.
So when I was a kid, we would have, me and my brothers collected the baseball cards. You'd walk up to the store and buy baseball cards, and you wanted the bubble gum or whatever, and we collected them. We had those little separator things where you'd separate all the players
Card
by teams. Well, it wasn't
Right.
even sleeves. It was like a case. You had this case, and you open it up, and you labeled them like the Phillies go here, the Reds go
okay.
here, the red,
You got
in
the
order.
cases, right.
And you put them in their team order. You try to collect each team, full team.
Mhm.
I still need the third baseman for whatever.
Well,
you
and see, they
trade-
do that.
They do that now.
That's a
None
they
of
do
them were
that,
ever in
but then
plastic.
also in the game, one of the biggest things in the game is theme teams. So you get a chance you can create a Diamond Dynasty team. Let's say the all-time greatest Cleveland Guardians or the all-time greatest whatever. And they release cards from those different teams, and like a lot of people they'll buy them from the marketplace. They'll grind out
that's
just
it.
to get them so they can have
Yeah, because they know they
That's who
have a
playing.
generation of kids who grew up collecting this stuff and buying baseball cards and buying this stuff. They have everyone that plays video games now were those kids, and they can sell you
Right.
virtual cards of shit. That's
Virtual
why I
cards.
like these. And what are they called? NFTs. That I'm not
NFTs.
surprised that happens. Anyway,
But then you
Jim
also
Rice.
have
When I had
companies
Jim
like
Rice's,
Topps.
I remember I had Jim Rice's card,
Mhm.
and he just looked like a very nice gentleman. He just looked like he
Yeah,
had a
very
nice,
nice
clean
gentleman.
mustache.
Uh-huh.
He just looked like a nice guy, and like I wanted him to be my neighbor or something, like that kind of.
Mhm.
I was like, oh,
And
he's
you
like
could be
Mr.
like, say,
Rogers.
my neighbor was Jim Rice.
My neighbor's Jim. He just seemed like a good guy to hang out. And I guess I probably liked him. His name was Rice, like like a food. Like it was
I remember
Jim
when I was
Potato.
a kid,
Yeah.
I was in the Junior Oreos, which was like, I don't know. I mean, so it's basically what it is happening. Like at the beginning of the season, you get like, it's a club that you could join. I forgot how much shit was, but you'd get 10 tickets to the baseball game, and you
Okay.
also get to go to like a bullpen party that they had.
Really? To the major
And-
league game, the major league field?
Yeah, you would get 10 tickets.
Okay.
So like, me and my dad would go.
yeah.
And one time we had this thing with like it was a bullpen party that we went to before the game. And the bullpen
Little baby
party,
Artstar went to this bullpen party. Little
You got
tiny
to
baby
get-
Artstar with a hat. You got an Orioles hat on when you're going to this.
Yeah, and I think I did. Yeah, Orioles. Yeah, of course.
You got your-
you
you got
go to-
your-
you go to-
You got your mitt in your
and
hand.
you got your glove.
Yeah, you brought your
you carry your
glove. In case
glove
you
in
caught
your-
a foul
yeah, you could-
ball.
You could but you could have sat like way up, like nowhere near catching them. Well, ball was even coming in your direction.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you had your glove with you.
You thought you'd catch
Anyway,
it. Yeah.
So we went to this bullpen party, and at the bullpen party, they had some players there so they could, sign your autograph or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to meet Eddie Murray, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And it was weird though, because like I've had the same face since I was a kid, right? So like I'm sitting there, they signing shit or whatever. And I remember the first thing I ever remember him saying to me is, "Why don't you smile?" Like Eddie Murray literally told me, "Why don't you smile?"
He
So
did?
I've always had the I don't smile face.
Yeah, because you always, that's what everybody's always surprised when they find out that
That's why people think I'm mean.
you're a
They think I'm
happy-go-lucky guy
mean.
on a podcast. They're like, "Isn't that guy always mad? Like he never smiled." No, he's like, he's
Yeah,
hilarious
like,
and
like
funny.
he's mean as fuck. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna eat my face off.
So Eddie Murray had that cool. Wanted to make sure I looked him up, but he always had that cool like sideburns into the mustache thing,
Right.
which was
right.
cool as hell. And he's still alive. He's 67 only.
Yep, still alive.
Like I feel like he should be way older than that. But so you got to meet Eddie Murray and he told you to smile. So do you is your facial hair the way you wear it because of Eddie Murray?
No.
Did you ever think about Eddie Murray that way?
Another side story.
Yeah.
I remember I used to work at Woolworths department stores.
Oh yes, we talked
And
about
there's
that
one-
on the Happy Hour podcast.
And one time this dude came in and he told me that I looked like Eddie Murray.
Like
And I
a
guess
young
because
Eddie
at the
Murray.
time I had like a lot of hair on my head.
Yeah.
And my sideburns were long. And I was like, bruh, I don't see it. I don't see it. But I was like, okay, if that's what you need to make you happy, I guess maybe it was a redneck Baltimore thing.
Well,
I don't know.
Eddie Murray attended Locke High School in Los Angeles. Their team colors were Columbia blue and gold, home of the Saints. And he went to Fred Berry went to school with that same school. You know who Fred Berry is, right? Rerun, baby. And Ozzie Smith went to that school.
The Wizard.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith, man. J-Rock. Let's see if I know any of these other people. There's a bunch of police officers. I don't know why they're famous. Fred Berry, though, Rerun. Eddie Murray went to see Eddie Murray, Ozzie Smith, and Rerun from What's Happening. All went to the same school, and you all know it. They're home of the Saints, Locke High School. Now everyone who listens to the Nerd Skool podcast knows that. And they're all, frankly, better off for having known it. And all that is because we talked about Chadwick Boseman going to the same school as Jim Rice. And
look at that look at that trickle down effect.
Yeah, we got into Eddie Murray because of the baseball thing, and got into a little tidbit of Artstar's childhood. We all pictured Artstar as a little kid. I pictured you exactly the same, except only 4 feet tall. As you're somehow smushed down,
and then with a wad of bubble gum in his mouth, because like baseball players, chewing tobacco. So
chewing tobacco.
Like then some always had like a wad of bubble gum. So you have a wad of Big League Chew.
Yeah, you
in
get
your
that
mouth.
Big League Chew, man. Big League Chew was the best. I used to love.
Whenever I got Big League Chew, I loved it.
Now, what's your favorite flavor? Do you like just the bubblegum flavor?
I just like the bubblegum, but like the grape was pretty good too. But it was like one of those things.
I always got
like,
grape. That was my favorite. The grape.
I would go when you go to the store like 7-Eleven or something.
Yeah.
But like my parents would never let me get it. I guess because it was gum. And parents, they don't want your kid. He like, the gum's gonna get on the carpet, blah, blah, blah.
It's gonna get all over everything. Yeah.
But then when I got older, when I was older making my own money,
you bought your own Big League Chew.
I used to always have, like when I worked at Ames department store, I used to always have Big League Chew a lot of times.
Funny, now that I think about it, I never really thought about this, but Big League Chew is like play tobacco.
Right.
Because it's like shredded like tobacco. That's what it was supposed to be. I never even thought about that, but because they had candy cigarettes, they had candy chewing tobacco. That's so crazy.
Those are pretty cool too. Like it'll make you want to, I guess it made you felt like you was cool.
You did. You felt like you were
like you could blow the powder out of the shit.
Yeah.
I like the gum better than the chalky bits shits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they had the ones that were like those Necco wafer consistency.
Yeah.
Which like you can bite them, eat them.
Like the
I
ones that
love
came
the
in the
ones
baseball
where
card packs, those little rectangles of gum. Those hard
right.
pieces of gum, is that what you're talking about? Those were shitty.
Well, no, you have the ones that they had like the white paper around it, and you could like blow in it, and like a little puff of, I guess whatever the flour or whatever the fuck was on
Big
it
League
would
Chew?
come out. But then it was it was a cylinder stick of gum,
In
and it was like
made
a
by Big
it
League
was
Chew?
like a no, it wasn't made by Big League Chew. It wasn't made by
You're
Big
a
League
different
Chew.
kind of gum.
But it came in a box. It came in an actual fake cigarette box. But then you
Oh, yeah,
also had
yeah,
the ones
yeah.
that was
But that
like
wasn't gum, was it? That was just
not the
candy.
hard candy.
Oh, but the
Yeah, but
gum
they had
ones.
some that were gum as well.
Oh,
You
yeah,
had
yeah,
gum
yeah,
ones as
yeah.
well.
I think I remember that now.
But then you also had the ones that were, like I say, that hard. I don't think I can say it was made of the same consistency as like the Necco wafers and
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
heart candies
Right
you
on.
get.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. That same kind of consistency. Yeah. And that gum lasted what? 30 seconds before it's out of flavor.
Right? You want
Like,
good, toss it.
yeah.
Then you
So
like when you got older, you get a pack of baseball cards that still had the gum in it.
well,
And
yeah,
your
well,
friend's
yeah.
dad
It's
used
like this is a pack
gum.
of baseball cards from 82 and it's now 2001.
And
I gotta
it's
taste
still
that
the
gum.
same cardboard consistency
Just a couple
as it
years
was
ago.
in 82
Somebody
that it is now.
somebody gave me a pack of cards from Three's Company. It was from the 70s. Three's Company playing or like trading cards, and it still had the gum in it. Sure enough, I put some of that in my mouth, but it was like tasted like an envelope, which it did then too. I
Right.
can't believe I put it in my mouth, but it wouldn't even like I
That's
didn't
what
have
she
enough
said.
saliva to make it into gum. I couldn't even do it. So
Right.
so
Probably couldn't even reconstitute that if you wanted to.
back to Chadwick Boseman. Here's something that's amazing about a lot of these actors in Black Panther. So when he was in high school, he wrote his first play, which means he wrote multiple ones. His first play was called Crossroads, and he staged it at his school after a classmate was shot and killed. So that was kind of cool of Chadwick Boseman. He's a playwright. And so is the lady who plays let me find it. I don't want to be wrong about that. Oh, there's a lot of playwrights in this. So dang it, who's the one who plays? Oh, Lupita Nyong'o.
Uh-huh.
You probably know her for lots of stuff, right? She's been in a lot of things.
He's been in some things. I feel like
I didn't write any of this down, but she's like written plays, and the one who plays Okoye, Danai Gurira.
Garaya.
Garaya, is that how they say it? She's a playwright of a Broadway play called Eclipsed. She was nominated for a Tony Award. She's written several plays. She debuted a play at the Goodman Theater where Steve Snodgrass, friend of the show, worked with John Moore. They worked there. Anyway, there's all these all these people aren't just great actors; they're playwrights too. But back to Chadwick Boseman really quick. One other thing, he went to Howard University, and Felicia Rashad from the Cosby Show was his mentor, and helped raise funds for him to get into some good acting programs. And Denzel Washington gave some money towards that too. So there you go. Little Denzel Washington, little Felicia Rashad.
little black royalty.
You know who Felicia Rashad was married to? What great Minnesota Viking, right?
Ahmad.
Yes, one of
Remember he used to have that was it it's a sports show he used to be
I know
on.
what you're gonna say. NBA inside stuff.
It came used to go on Saturday afternoon, right?
Yeah. And then which I was always confused. Like he was a football player. Oh, excuse me.
Right.
He was a football player. Why is he on NBA? It was inside stuff, I want to say. Inside stuff. Yeah. Boom. Ahmad Rashad. I used to watch that. I don't know why. I think I only watched that because that, if I remember correctly, that came on right before American Gladiators. So, or wrestling, one of the two. Is that show still on?
What happened?
Is that show still on? NBA Inside Stuff. Did I lose you?
I think they do it I think they do it on TNT at the beginning of the the NBA games. I think they call that NBA Inside Stuff. I think that's what that's called.
NBA Inside
Which
Stuff. Yeah, I think
can-
it's still on. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's not. It's had 4 revivals. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Okay, because I kept getting I got a message that my internet connection was unstable. I mean, there's so many things. So Andy Serkis, who plays Claw, his father was an Iraqi Armenian gynecologist. You didn't know that? Michael B. Jordan.
I did know that.
You went to. You did know that? Michael B.
I
Jordan.
didn't know that. I said I did know that.
Oh, you didn't. Michael B. Jordan went to
Michael B. Jordan went to what?
Newark Arts High School, home of the Jaguars. Tisha Campbell and Savion Glover both went there. And I found this thing on the internet that said Michael B. Jordan said he was bullied by Laurel. You know who that is? Radio personality in New York. And so you can see the interview with her. She's denying it. Excuse me. There's a lot of these people that did some crazy things.
Some stuff.
They did some stuff. They lived some lives. But let's real quick.
They done some things.
Let's jump into the trivia or goofs. Do we like goofs? How do you get to
goofs?
You know how
G-O-O-F?
G-O-O-F-S. Like bad, but you know how IMDb
goofs,
has
G-O-O-F.
Goofs, yeah, goofs, like goofy. They have things like that are mistakes.
Yeah, I said.
Huh?
Oh, I'm waiting for you to go. I was about to get tongue tied. I caught myself. So I caught myself.
So around 39 minutes in the movie, when Shuri gives T'Challa the new shoes she calls them sneakers. She mentions that they absorb sound and allow silent footsteps. Yeah, she's like, "What are those? Why are you wearing those sandals?" And T'Challa demonstrates you can't hear his shoes. But later in the film, at around 52 minutes, T'Challa runs up a ramp wearing the sneakers, and you hear the sound of footsteps. That's a big mistake. It's a big fuck up.
I want my money back.
Yeah. I think I noticed this part. At around 57 minutes in, when Claw is being interrogated by Everett Ross, you continue to hear Claw speak while the camera is shown outside the interrogation room with the camera focused on T'Challa. When T'Challa begins to walk, you can see Claw behind him, and whilst you can hear him still talking, his lips aren't moving within the interrogation room in the background.
So when you see stuff like that, do you go back into the movie and try to pause it so you can see it?
Yeah, I gotta
like. Do you want to see like the boom mic overhang? Like, oh,
Yeah.
they said there's a boom mic, and let me go see if I caught the boom mic.
Yeah.
Well, let me see if I see that cup.
Do I
that
see
was
that
left
thing
out
that's
of
in the
the thing.
background? Yeah, the coffee. Yeah, the famous Starbucks that's in the Game of Thrones or whatever. They say that Chadwick Boseman's beard changes in length from take to take, which I didn't really notice. Yeah, I don't know. Goofs. I'm just reading stuff about like Shuri's war paint. She couldn't have put on the war paint that fast, and I don't think I care about the goofs.
Sometimes the goofs are just them picking at like it's very nitpicky. But then if you think about it, nitpicky is a part of nerd culture lore, right?
It is definitely nerd
Because
culture.
it's like, well, actually, he didn't say that in that issue. It was an issue such and such where it was first mentioned. You should tell your viewers that.
Yeah. Well, here's a little tidbit that I didn't know. Apparently, during an interview with Michael Martin on All Things Considered, Denai Guerrera, I'm not going to be able to say it, Okoye, who plays Okoye.
Call him Michonne or Okoye.
Okoye said that the language spoken by Wakandans is a real language. And it's called Xhosa, Xhosa, a South African Xhosa, a South African language characterized by clicks and glottal stops. She said it's the same language that is native to Nelson Mandela.
If you had the subtitles on, if you have the subtitles on, on a movie, it'll tell you when they start speaking, it'll
Yeah.
have it,
And,
so you know that that's what it's speaking. So it's,
and what it means. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Klingon or
yeah, like a made up
what's
language.
another language that was recently made up,
Oh,
or
I feel like
Dothraki.
Dothraki is a made up language, right? But I thought I read somewhere that Dothraki is based on some other kind of something. But
Well, you know, a lot of these languages they're based on something, but then they're also like, can you just imagine being that person who has to create this language
or
and then just
yeah, or the person that there's probably the person that has to, like you said, dialect coach has to
Yeah.
help them all speak this language correctly. You know, everybody, you know, some have different levels of probably understanding of it. And so that kind of brings up a thing that I kind of thought fleetingly through the movie. Sometimes it bothered me, sometimes it didn't. It's like sometimes I was like, well, why are they speaking English? If we're in Wakanda, why are they speaking English just to each other? Like and there's one part when T'Challa goes he goes to the ancestral plane where they bury him and he goes and talks to his father. Right away, or at the beginning, they're speaking English, and right as I thought, like I even said it out loud, I was like, why would they be speaking English to each other? Like, you're in heaven with your father. Why wouldn't you speak your native language? As soon as I said that, they both started speaking in the South African language, you know. So then I was like, oh, touche. Somebody's listening to me. Like, they just changed it. So they do go in and out of it here and there. And I think if we really
But isn't that like a movie trope thing anyway? Where like you're watching something and the person will say something in their native language, but then they switch into English, and then sometimes they'll go back to it. But like that's actually just the way it was planned, and it's not like
I wonder what's behind the plan. Like, is there so much thought put into it? Like, well, when they're saying certain things, they're in their native language. Or like, if it's
but then you also got to realize, like I have friends now who will watch things. They'll say you got to watch this on Netflix, or you got to watch that. And I am, I guess, I can say I can probably call myself this. I am somewhat up, and this could be just me making this word up, but I'm adding 2 words.
I love this.
I'm making
it's an Artstar word, yeah.
I kind of consider myself somewhat of a lingophile.
Okay.
Right?
That's probably a word.
So it's like if I'm watching something, I have to watch it in its intended language, because and shit get lost in translation. But they'll be like, you gotta watch like this show on Netflix now called Triptych. A friend of mine said like, oh, you gotta watch Triptych. It's so good. So I started watching it, and I was like, hey, something is off about this. So then I went and I looked, and I was like, oh, stupid Netflix. You're in America. Let me just automatically give you English. So like, oh, okay, this thing was dubbed. That's why it was off. So like, I had to watch it in Spanish for me to actually want to get into it.
Okay.
But like I said, I have friends who
But
they
do you
don't
speak
like
Spanish, or did you read
No,
it?
no,
Like you
but
read the
it's
subtitles. So you had
subtitles. The original language is Spanish, but so the subtitles should have been English.
Yeah, so you'd rather them speak Spanish and read the English.
Like when I watch anime, I have a hard on for Japanese.
Yeah.
But when I watch anime, I only watch anime to where it was intended to be watched. Like I don't want
you want it speaking Japanese and you're reading.
Right. If you're not
subtitles.
speaking Nihongo, I can watch it. Like if it was on Adult Swim, like shit's in English. And if I'm bored, I'll sit there and I'll watch it. But if I'm watching like Naruto or My Hero Academia, if I'm watching it online or on an anime website, I'm watching it in Japanese.
Okay.
Like I'd rather see the English subtitles than
so you're a purist. You're a purist when it comes to
But
language. So you are not a lingophile. You are a linguophile.
Right. So
although they say a linguophile is a person that is multilingual because of their love for learning language, not necessarily
I
listening
wouldn't consider myself multilingual.
So maybe you are a lingophile.
That's why I said lingophile.
Yeah, so you're your own.
Like languages.
You like languages. You like the purity of languages.
Right.
There's got to
But
be a name for that.
yeah, so like, I guess they figure like some people when they come to these movies, they're not going to want to sit here and have to read through the whole thing. So let's switch. Let's give them a little bit, and then boom, switch back to English. Because like now they're still engaged because they're like, oh wow, they're speaking in their native language. But like, oh hey, they're speaking English, so I can understand, and I don't have to read. Because even though they told us in the '80s reading is fundamental, I don't like to read.
They know stupid Americans don't like to read. So you're like a pedophile, but for languages.
This is where standard practices would be like,
Yeah.
no,
TBJ will be like,
no.
nope, and we're ending this now.
No.
Yeah, so that was one thing I guess part of it is like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of I guess what I assume is like, do they just assume Marvel fans are only going to read for so much? Like they're
Right.
not going to take a whole movie in another language because they just won't do it, and it's too much of a summer blockbuster. Like I feel like Marvel movies are starting to be different than like I think at the beginning they were thought of as Die Hard and like summer blockbuster, type of movie like Rambo and like
Mhm.
I don't know, those, I don't know if Rocky's one of them, but like those kind of movies, Terminator. But I feel like they're becoming more artistic. I feel like
Right.
with, I don't know, just some of the stuff we're talking about. So, but I think I do think if it was completely in Wakandan and you had to read the whole time, there'd be so many complaints from people.
And people would be like, I had to read the screen the whole time. I was missing things because I had to read this, and I wanted someone to rewind it because I maybe missed what he actually said. And
Well, what I like
yeah.
is this goes in and out of it so much. So I'm somebody who I always have my subtitles on anyway. I've always had them on. Like as far as I can remember, I've kept the subtitles on I think it started like when I had kids when they were little, so I could turn it down and I could still watch the movie, they're sleeping or
Right.
whatever. And movies like more and more like the dialogue's super quiet and the explosions are super loud. So you turn it up to hear what they're saying, and then boom, it's exploding. And 5 seconds later, you're waking up the baby and all that. So, and then as the kids got older, I found that it was helpful to help them learn to read because everything they watched always had the dialogue at the bottom. So
Right.
both my kids learned to read real young, I think, because they always saw the words that were being said. And I think that's how you can learn. And then I just keep it on because I don't know. It's like I feel lost when it's not on. So I don't know if I'm not smart enough now to like listen to stuff, but it also helps me pick up things like
Right.
just the other day. I don't know if you saw that YouTube clip I sent you, but that I didn't know that Psy and Snoop Dogg had a rap song together. And I only knew that because when they went to Korea in Black Panther, the music that's playing is a rap, it's an intro song. It's the intro to the hip hop beat from Psy and Snoop Dogg's song Hangover or whatever. And I didn't know they had a rap song called, and so I watched that whole video. I was like, I didn't know this existed. I had no idea. And I only know because of Black Panther.
Black Panther.
And because I had the subtitles on. I wouldn't have known what that was. It would have just sounded like a hip hop beat to me. But so I guess it's just knowledge. I have like a thirst for knowledge that I didn't have when I was younger. Like I drifted through most of my life just partying and not giving a shit and wanting to have a good time. Now I want to learn all the shit that I missed and don't
learn
know.
any and everything.
Yeah.
Like, why was this made? Is that a thing?
Do
people know about this?
Yeah. What is this and who's that and why is it? And everything's connected and I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Just the fact that everything's a big old web. And
did you watch the trailer that I sent you and Andy on Polo?
Oh, when did you send it?
For the Marvels came out today. That's with Monica.
The trailer for the Marvels?
Captain Marvel and Kamala Khan. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That came out today.
I didn't see that, but
I'm telling you. I watched that.
Yeah.
I like, oh shit. Joe's gonna get fucked in the head with this one.
So tell me about this. What trailer came out today? Explain this to me. What is the Marvels? Is it a TV show? Is it a movie?
It's a movie. It was supposed initially it was going to be Captain Marvel 2, which I believe we're about to do Captain Marvel, aren't we?
This has got Tiana Paris, who is in. This is what you guys told me about when we watched. Was it WandaVision? Where
WandaVision.
she's like
She
becomes.
ended up becoming Photon.
Okay. Oh yeah, and I love her, but I
But
can't
then-
watch this without watching
But then there's also
Captain Marvel. But Captain Marvel's coming up.
Captain Marvel. But then there's also Miss Marvel with Kamala Khan.
Oh, she's in
Kamala
this
Khan.
in this Marvels too.
Yeah,
It's those three.
So
Oh yeah,
so
I would love
initially,
that.
It was just going to be Miss Marvel too. But
Okay.
then I guess I want to say what happened with WandaVision and like the positive feedback they got from Monica Rambeau.
Monica
character
Rambeau was awesome.
in
Yeah.
WandaVision.
And then everybody liked
So like,
Marvel
okay,
Girl, right?
boom, and then
Miss
Miss
Marvel?
Marvel. So like, boom, like you know what? We now going to change the title to the Marvels. Like I don't, you probably haven't even seen Miss Marvel, have you?
Yeah, I watched Miss Marvel.
So you saw Miss Marvel at the end. You saw, her. And
So here's the
Captain-
crazy thing. I know who Monica Rambeau is. I know Ms. Marvel,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel.
I don't know Captain Marvel yet because I
But
haven't.
see-
Because
but
I'm
see,
watching it all fucked up order. Like it's all
but
screwed
so
up.
you have watched WandaVision, right?
Yes.
And you
And
watch
I love
Miss
Monica
Marvel.
Rambeau.
So I want to say I could be wrong.
Captain Marvel's soon.
Is Captain Marvel next?
It's either Captain Marvel or it's Ant-Man and Wasp, I think. But I
Well,
did see
Captain-
Captain Marvel's
which-
coming up.
Yeah,
Here,
so
let me see.
I'm
Phase
thinking I think she comes soon.
3.
But
We're in phase 3 still. Or is
We're-
this phase 4? We're phase 3.
no, wait,
I mean,
what?
what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
did Thor Ragnarok. We're on Black Panther. Avengers Infinity Wars next. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then Captain Marvel. Then Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. That's a lot of stuff. And we're never going to get through Black Panther.
Why did that sound wrong?
Because you're drunk.
The reason, because you said what's after this one?
Avengers Infinity War.
Because I feel like, and then
And then Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in July of 2018. And then Captain Marvel
I
was
feel
March
like they
of
gave us
2019.
Captain Marvel before Avengers. Because it's like, how would anyone like if she
It was
wasn't
before
introduced-
Endgame.
Oh, but it was before Endgame.
It was before Endgame, but it was after Infinity War. We haven't watched Infinity War yet.
Okay, all right. Because at first the way you said, I thought you were saying that Endgame came and then Miss Captain Marvel. Like, but wait, she shows up in Endgame and people
Don't
if
ruin
people
it for
hadn't seen
me.
Captain Marvel.
Don't ruin it
they
for me.
would've been
Don't
like,
spoil
what
it.
the fuck is going on here? Anywho, by the time you finish, by the time you see Captain Marvel, you can watch the Marvels then because you've seen WandaVision.
So then I
And if
can.
you remember,
But I'm gonna want to
and Miss
rewatch
Marvel-
WandaVision and
right,
Ms.
but
Marvel,
those
or
are only
Marvel.
6 episodes.
Yeah.
But you see, like in Miss Marvel, when she switches places with Captain Marvel, it's like, oh shit!
I don't know what you're talking
But
about.
like basically, once you watch the trailer, you'll see that shit. You'll kind of, if you remember
Yeah,
what
so-
happened at the end of Miss Marvel, it'll
Oh,
be like,
man.
oh okay.
Then I'll get it. Yeah. Okay. So, I also love the fact that we end up talking on this podcast about stuff they just released this today because this is
Mhm.
upcoming. And I bet if you went back and listened to all these episodes of Nerd School,
Uh-huh.
you'd go back to us like geeking out about stuff that's about to come, and we're like speculating about things you guys have now long since watched.
Right.
We talked about, we were so geeked about when they gave us all those TV shows. I love
Mhm.
I love taking your saying they gave us, because it's like you always
Right.
word it as they're giving you
gave us.
gifts, like the MCU is a gift
they
that they give the
great to us.
nerds.
They're like, here, look, nerds, here, take this,
Yeah.
enjoy.
They're giving us one more episode of, and I remember you saying that, and I remember how excited you were in the middle of pandemic when we were recording this thing, and you're
Mhm.
like, they're gonna give us, it's not only gonna be 2 episodes, it's gonna be 6 whole episodes of, whatever it was, WandaVision. It's not gonna just be a one-off, it's gonna be 6 episodes. And how excited you guys all were, like, oh yeah. And then we couldn't wait to watch it and talk about it.
And
And
see,
it
and
was just
with
like-
this
Yeah.
is way off in a couple of years from now. Now we're gonna probably run into this thing where when Armor Wars come out, because Armor Wars was originally supposed to be a series with your, friend of the podcast, that one guy who you found out his name was Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
It's about, War Machine's going to be in
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Riri from Wakanda Forever, she's going to be a part of it.
Oh
But
boy.
it went from being a television series to what they're going to call, I guess they're going to call it a blockbuster, but a movie now.
It
So they
is.
took away the series and made it just one movie. So
Okay.
now it's like, okay, when we watch that, are we going to be like, man, I really wish this was a series?
So
Like, can you just imagine watching something like Hawkeye?
Yeah.
The guy with the bow.
Yeah.
If it was just a movie, I feel like that wouldn't have been like. I
So,
feel like
Are
if
you
Marvel had
saying? Back up a second. You said that War Machine thing was gonna be
Armor
a TV
Wars.
show, Armor Wars.
it was going to be a series.
And did they start filming
was
it
gonna be
and
a
then
series.
decide it's a film, or did they just
No, they
before
hadn't started.
filmed?
They
hadn't
had
started.
they hadn't started filming it.
Okay.
That when Marvel went through and started shifting timelines and moving shows because of pandemic-y stuff, that's when all those sense. Like, you know what? Armor Wars is now no longer going to be a series. It's going to be a blockbuster movie.
Okay. Well,
But
Don Cheadle just exudes that much. Although he is a master of the silver or the silver screen is the movie. What's the TV screen? They call that the small screen.
the small screen.
He's a master of that because he was in Golden Palace.
Go to Palace bag.
Your favorite show of all time.
But like, so I'm
Okay,
wondering
Fuck,
if
marry, or
Marvel
kill. Dorothy, Blanche, Rose.
Rose,
F, marry, or
definitely
kill.
Rose.
Rose, what? You're gonna F her
Ro-
or marry her?
I would marry Rose.
You're killing Dorothy, and you're effing the hell out
Because
of
B.
Blanche.
Arthur, I just feel like if I was to marry B. Arthur, I feel like she want me to take her last name so we could be Arthur.
That'd be awesome. Arthur, that would be awesome.
But
Shit.
so I would
Yeah, and you
kill
know you gotta
Dorothy
bang, you gotta bang Blanche because
and bang Blanche. Yeah, because Blanche,
Blanche,
Blanche freaky. We know Blanche freaky.
It's freaking. She knows what she's doing. Rue McClanahan knew her way around the bedroom.
But what I was going to say to
Yeah.
get back on the off tangent topic that we were on, I'm wondering if Marvel in the very beginning had been like, I think we're going to take some of these movie ideas and make them into series, like Thor. Thor could have been just as good as Loki if the first Thor had been cut up into like a show.
Wait,
And the fact
Thor,
that it was,
you mean Thor? If Thor was a series,
if it was a series, yes.
it would have been just as good as Loki.
I
But
think it could
don't
have been
people
just
think?
as,
Don't people think Ragnarok was like one of the best movies in the entire MCU?
it's
as
one
a-
of the best
as a
Thor
movie?
movies. It's one of the best Thor movies for sure. It's probably
Here's a real
the best.
question: Is
It's
a
the
great
best Thor
movie better than a great series?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But I feel like it could have been pulled off better because at the time Thor came, they could have more crossover with Agents of Shield, right?
yeah.
So, but then it could have.
Well, we've established
could've-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could have been done better as part of all this. But now it seems like they're doing it. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it sounds like nerds wanted everyone to do what they're doing with these
And
other.
I'm wondering, like, so they're sitting there saying shit like Secret Wars won't work without certain people from Agents of Shield.
All right, what the
i.e.
hell is Secret Wars?
Secret Wars is coming out June 21st.
Is that a TV
Samuel
show
Jackson
or
Yeah,
a movie?
This is a show.
There's too
Come-
much. Isn't there too much?
It's not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion.
Secret
Well, what's
Invasion.
the difference
Secret
between that and
Wars.
Secret Wars?
Secret Wars is coming, I think, after the Kang stuff or along with the Kang stuff.
And that's a movie also?
That's going to be a movie. I think there are two movies of that. But I think it's a part of the Kang dynasty, which was what started with Ant-Man and Quantumania.
Well,
Which
the
I'm
real-
wondering how much Secret Invasion is going to tie into that. But then also what I was going to say was because Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania dealt with the quantum realm, the last 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was dealing with the quantum realm. And you know, time flows differently in the quantum realm.
It does.
So
So
it's-
it's sort of like
Excelsior.
the multiverse. Like it can,
Right. So it's just so much. I mean, you have like the
you
new
can tie everything
Spider-Verse,
together.
the new
Like the
Spider-Verse
Joverse.
thing coming out, where you know Spider-Verse is a Sony Pictures movie, but they made mention of Doctor Strange. They didn't say Peter, but they said Doctor Strange, and then the
Isn't his
one
name
of you
Steven?
from the MCU 199999. Say it again.
He's not Peter. He's Stephen Strange, right?
No, no. You remember? You probably don't remember.
Oh,
But
Peter
what
Parker.
happened in No Way Home? Is it No Way Home? Oh, I get those mixed up. No Way Home, Far From Home,
Why do they all be
Can't
called
Go
home? I don't
Wanna
know which
Go
one we
Home.
saw. I want to
But
go home.
It's the
Well, and then
last
they got
one.
the secret invasion, secret what, and Secret City.
Secret Wars.
Did you ever watch Secret City with Commander Mark?
I did. I love Secret City.
That's
I
from.
love Secret City.
So, are you surprised that I know that? Because it was
It's
produced
a
by
public access television show.
Maryland Public Television produced that, but I
Right.
know what that is because they had it in Ohio. Commander Mark and Liz Zebtron and Cindy the
I
Dragon.
used to love that. No, like nothing like watching Commander Mark, Secret City, and then like right after that, you get to watch Bob Ross and the Happy Squirrel.
So,
Happy Mistakes.
I think Commander Mark is going to be what brings Gruff from the Gruff and Loud Show and Artstar together. Like you two are going to go off into the Secret City yourself.
and just watch episodes of Secret City.
Well, I'll just have Commander Mark draw you into the city.
Oh man, that was
Yeah,
awesome
Steve
shit.
Gruff taught me what that was. Like he taught me about Secret City. Like I didn't know what it was. He goes, you got to watch Secret City, and we watched it. Yes, Commander Mark, man, that dude was a badass. He had a huge schlong. Many of our listeners probably don't know what Commander Mark is in Secret City. Maybe they do. If you do,
Maybe
tweet
they do.
us. Tweet us at History for Jerks. Instagram us at Nerd Skool Pod. Do you
Nerd
run the
Skool Pod.
Instagram?
Me and TBJ both run the
Oh, you
Instagram.
both run it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can talk to TBJ and Artstar there. So who is James Shaw Jr.?
James Shaw Jr.
The Waffle House hero? You ever heard of this?
I don't know, what is that about?
And what does this have to do with Chadwick Boseman? According to the trivia on IMDb, Chadwick Boseman won Best Hero at the 2018 MTV Movie and TV Awards, and he invited a man named James Shaw Jr., who was dubbed the Waffle House hero. They brought him up to the stage and gave him the award. He felt he deserved it more. So Chadwick Boseman gave him the award he got.
What did he do in the Waffle House? Is it Waffle House in Texas?
Yeah, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. Shaw subdued a gunman at a Waffle House. The gunman killed 4 people, yet Shaw was able to prevent any other people from getting killed and like tackle the guy, I guess. And so Chadwick Boseman invited him to the show and gave him his award. So that's cool. I kind of vaguely remember that Waffle House shooting, but now there's so many shootings every week.
Yeah,
They all run
sickening.
together.
Yeah.
It's gross and disgusting. There was the one in Nashville just a couple weeks ago, that all this outrage, and there was just one in Louisville. Was it yesterday or this weekend?
Yeah.
Just crazy. Okay. In response to being asked what it felt like being one of the only few non-black actors on set, and sometimes the only non-black actor on set, Martin Freeman said, he said, you think, right, this is what black actors feel like all the time. Freeman and Andy Serkis were known as they called them the Tolkien white guys, not token, Tolkien on set, since they also starred together in the Hobbit films, which I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because Andy Serkis,
Gollum.
He's Gollum, and Martin Freeman was a Hobbit, right? He was one of the Hobbits, or is he the main Hobbit? He's not the main Hobbit, right?
Martin Freeman is
I don't know any of the Hobbits' names.
hold on. No. Martin Freeman is he wasn't Bilbo, was it? Was he a young Bilbo?
Bilbo Baggins, maybe. I know that name. Bilbo.
Martin Freeman, who were you? Come on down.
Martin Freeman was in The Office, the British Office. That's what I knew him from. And I guess he was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Let's
he
see what
played
he-
Arthur.
let's see what- let's
And
see.
he's also Watson and Sherlock.
Boy, this guy's in a lot of stuff. I think what bugs me is well, actually, I shouldn't say it bugs me, but it kind of bugs me about him. I like him a lot, but he always sounds like his nose is stuffed, which mine is right now because this pollen is killing me. But I'm gonna
His
IMDb.
English accent or his American accent?
Just whenever he talks, whether it's American or British dialect.
So you're saying he's very nasally.
He always sounds like he is stuffed up, like he needs to blow his nose. And I was like, blow your fucking nose, bro.
Maybe you should be his nose blower. Like Martin Freeman, I will blow your nose for you.
So I'm on Martin Freeman's goddamn. I hate it. I'm IMDb. They changed it. I can't figure out how to get to what he's done. Overview, mini bio, family, trademarks, trivia, and quotes is all I can see. I don't want his trivia. I want Martin Freeman. There we go. Actor. There we go. You got to click. Stupid ads. Fuck ads, man. How do I get to what? Oh, known for. Known for. Where's his goddamn filmography? Okay, here it is. So we're trying to find the Hobbit movies. Who he was.
James Hobbit.
I could have easily just asked Google. Oh, I forgot he was in Fargo too. He was good in that too. The Hobbit. He plays Bilbo. Yes, he's Bilbo Baggins. Well, who does the other guy play then?
Well, that's Lord of the Rings. You know, the Hobbit is before. Like he plays a young Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo Baggins is a different character in Lord of the Rings.
Is Bilbo Baggins the main Hobbit? He's like the number one Hobbit.
No, he's not the number one Hobbit. I mean, in the Hobbit, yeah. But in Lord of the Rings, what is it? Samwise and what's
Samwise Gamgee?
And what's the other? Why can't I think of the kid's name now?
I can't either. Noah.
Not Noah. It's God damn it! What the fuck is your name, dude?
I'm picturing him too. I know
and he's like in every. Like
he was in everything. He was in a lot of stuff for a few years.
I actually thought he was English. And then I seen him on something like, well, that dude's not English.
I just gave Google who plays hobbits.
Who plays hobbits?
He's a hobbit too, right? In Lord of the Rings,
he's in Lord of the Rings. He's like the main character. He's like literally
Elijah Wood. Elijah
Wood. Yeah.
Yeah. I was forgetting his name. Noah. I get the names Noah and Elijah mixed up. And then I found when I'm Googling that, it says Sean Astin and Elijah Wood revealed that the 4 original hobbits share. And you got to click it. What do they share?
Bobby tattoos.
I can't. Let's say click a bunch of cookies.
Do they share tattoos? I feel like they would have got tattoos.
They share their New York Times mini crossword scores every day.
I feel like I just feel like they're the type that would get tattoos.
Tattoos? Tattoos? Is that how you say it in Baltimore?
No, I was watching something and they were saying instead of tattoos, like tattoos. We're getting tattoos.
Oh, here's a little thing, a little trivia knowledge. I think of the rhino corn every time I see that rhino that Wakabi's feeding or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what the rhino corn is, Google it, look on Redbubble, and purchase yourself a shirt with a rhino corn on it. That's a invention Artstar made. It's his art. You can check out Artstar's art. Anyway, in they used a horse for the rhino shots. They used a Clydesdale because Clydesdales have the same gait as a rhino. So their hips move similarly, which I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I did know that.
You did know that?
No, I didn't. But now, if you just picturing it, I can see it.
You can kind of see it. Do you know what?
Which is also,
go ahead.
You know, I would say scientifically would also mean why they're so fucking fast. You know,
Clydesdales are fast, and rhinos.
Rhinos
will charge you. They'll charge the hell out of you.
I
was waiting for that rhino to turn into the Marvel character Rhino.
Right.
But I don't know anything about that character.
It's not the same.
And isn't Claw a Spider-Man villain? Or am I wrong on that?
No, he's the Inspector Gadget villain.
Oh yeah, it's Claw.
I
didn't-
did.
I didn't think we were going to talk about Inspector Gadget. The Dora Milaje translates to the Adored Ones, a group of female soldiers who protect Wakanda. They're the Adored Ones. In the comics, each of the tribes send their most powerful female fighters to join the Dora Milaje Guard, which I don't think that's what they did in this. Black Panther was created in July 1966, 2 months before the founding of the Black Panther Party. How about that? Many people mistakenly assumed the name referred to the Black Panther Party, so the character was renamed the Black Leopard. However, neither the readers nor the creators cared for that title, and it didn't last long. However, the Black Leopard name gets a nod from T'Challa's battle paint at his inauguration fight. How about that? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You didn't
I
know
didn't know that.
didn't know
I
that.
did not. I did not know.
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Oh, how about this? I bet you don't know this. The Royal Talon remote pilot system in the movie.
Mhm.
You know who voices it?
Is it the same one for Wakanda Forever?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe. It's South African comedian Trevor Noah.
Yeah, Trevor Noah, and he's in Wakanda Forever as well.
He's in it?
Did you not? Well, he's the voice.
Oh, he's that
He's
voice.
the voice, yeah.
You can tell it's his voice?
You can tell it's his voice, yeah.
You can?
Yep.
All right. Wakanda was seen as a location on a shield monitor in Iron Man 2, which I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, if you want to talk goof, if you want to, and I think we mentioned this, or Andy may have shitted around it or something. Yeah, I said shitted around it.
Around it.
But like how in this is a spoiler, but like how in Endgame they kind of make mention of shit going on in Atlantis.
Oh yeah.
But it kind of diverged from that once we got to Wakanda Forever. Because it was almost like the Wakandas knew nothing about this shit. So I feel like, you know, we mentioned vibranium a few times and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like going like Marvel I don't want to say on the fly, but as they're building out their universe, they're moving shit around and doing other things with shit. And we're finding out like things they mentioned or kind of alluded to earlier on. It's like, oh, now we're here. Even though we kind of alluded to this, we're like rewriting it, making it a certain way. Like if you're not looking for it, if you're not thinking about it, it's thrown out the window. Because like I said, like once you get to Wakanda Forever and they start talking about Atlantis, it's almost like, wait, in the end game, they had the little map where they were showing they showed the area of where Atlantis is, and then like stuff going on under the sea near Wakanda. And people's like, oh shit, that's how they're going to introduce Namor to the MCU. But it didn't come to fruition. Once we got to Wakanda Forever, it was almost like a whole different story than what we saw in Endgame. But then Marvel can do what they do and give us some more shit and be like, well, you know, that was probably from a different timeline because of something that happened in Loki.
Or we changed our mind, or we got a different writer, or whatever.
You know.
Well, I don't know what any of that means because I'm not even to any of that.
Right.
But I've heard little snippets of the Namor thing and all that. But I'm trying to just put any of the stuff that's not what we're currently doing out of my brain because my caveman
So
brain
you
can only
go in
handle.
fresh.
Well, I can only handle so much at a time. And remember, like even now, I'm feeling like we've gotten so far in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to the beginning and watch it all again to get back to where we are before I move anymore.
Wrestling watch through of the MCU.
Yeah, but it takes forever. I don't have enough time in the day to watch everything. I wish. Why can't I just be independently wealthy? So all I have to do all day is watch MCU
just
movies,
sit there and watch
wrestling,
things.
and watch everything, and just never do anything. Yeah, well, I think we're going on a long time. This episode.
That's how we quantify. It's been a while. We're
Yeah, well, I
going
don't
on a
know what
long
time we started because we started late, but I'm looking at all these. They're so. Oh, see, I'm yawning. That's that good podcasting. I'm yawning. I'm so tired.
That was Joe transforming into Tired Joe.
Yeah, so when Killmonger breaks the spear he's holding to make it a handheld weapon before he starts his challenge with T'Challa, it's a nod to the African warrior Shaka Zulu, one of the most famous military leaders in history. Shaka. He couldn't understand why the Zulus would throw away their spears in battle, so he developed a short stabbing spear. You know that
was have you ever seen the movie? The
Shaka
miniseries?
Zulu?
Yeah.
No, but I always played as Shaka Zulu in Civilization when I played it.
But basically, like one of the big parts of it's like a 6-part movie series. But like one of the big things in that is him taking the long spear, breaking it in half, and using the shield and showing the Zulu warriors how they can get in closer and have do close combat fighting.
Yeah,
if their spears are shorter. But like it's a whole thing. It's like if I can find the clip, I'll show you. But like it's a
we'll put it on Twitter.
It's a pretty cool thing. I used to like when I was a kid, I used to love watching Shaka Zulu because it was informative, but it was also like as a kid you get to see nudity, right? It was like nudity,
boobies, yeah.
And it was weird because I'm like,
boobs.
it's on regular television.
Yeah. That three out of every 5 people in Wakanda go barefoot. A deliberate decision by the costuming department, which I didn't notice that. I did notice though. When I rewatch it, you always catch more things, but the movie is so colorful as I'm rewatching it now. Like I find myself pausing scenes that are of dialogue when they're in different like when they're in the village.
Yeah, the color palette is amazing.
It's beautiful. It's like so many colors, and the costumes are so developed, and all kinds of different people. And like when I paused it the other day when I guess when he's talking to Nakia, trying to talk her into being the queen sort of thing. You need to stay here. They're having the conversation in the village and they're walking through everything. I paused it a bunch of times, just look at all the background people and characters. And I was like, I want all these to be characters. Like I want to develop. That's what I want to do in everything. I want to develop everyone. That's what I love about Star Wars. There's a million characters, a million monsters. I want a series of every single monster that was in the Star Wars bar. I want a Star Wars series. They're doing that now, it seems like. But I want every character in Wakanda to have their own series, their own movie. Because there's all these, like, there's some blue guy, interesting guy that's like wearing an all blue kind of outfit, and he had these like glowing blue tattoos, like the tattoo they have under their lips. He had that same tattoo like down his arm. Like I want to know, that is that guy magic? Is he got like vibranium in his arm? Like what's his deal? And then there's like a lady wearing
Mr. Coogler.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, he was trying to he wanted to do a series.
Like a Wakanda series?
Yeah. And supposedly they're supposed to be getting a spin-off. But I don't know if they've updated anything about that since they're not like this is like end of last year.
Oh, I see.
They talked
Wakanda
about
Disney Plus series in the works with Black Panther.
Kingdom of Wakanda.
Ooh. This article is from, what's the date on this article? No articles, aren't they supposed to have dates on them? So you know when this came out? It's just, I found this article on Entertainment Weekly.
But like they don't have anything about it in like the upcoming timeline for the next couple of years though.
Oh, they haven't, yeah.
Unless it just, we got this, we got the boom, bam, let's throw it in here in the timeline right there.
Yeah, they could. I want a Wakanda series. Well, Artstar, we did, and I'm not even through half the trivia, and we did what we set out to do. Is
we did it.
We bullshit.
Did it. Tangent motherfuckers.
We
Get it.
bullshitted for over an hour and never got into the movie. The Black Panther will be the movie we never get to.
By the time we get through Black Panther, it'll be Black History Month again.
Well, I will say the last thing I want to talk about is that I did dig into some of the background characters. Like I wanted to know, like the River Tribe elder who has the big plate in his lip. I fell down. I was like, is that guy just a guy? Like, is he just a regular or like an extra?
He's an actor, but he doesn't have that lip.
Yeah,
he's in
that was all makeup. I found out.
Yeah, he plays in. I want to say he's in He's in The Godfather of Harlem, which stars Forrest Whitaker as Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you if you ever saw that.
I want to say
Isaac de Bencole,
a 50 Cent show. I want to say he was in a season of Power. One of those seasons.
Yeah. He was in a lot of stuff that I think you've talked about before. But
he had like that's a prosthetic lip plate.
Yeah, it was like a makeup thing. It said it took hours to put on. But he's from the Ivory Coast. He was born there. His grandparents are from Nigeria. He moved to Paris in 1975 and pursued a master's degree in physics and mathematics. And then he attended an aviation school and earned a private pilot license before a chance encounter with a French director, Gerard Vergès, led him to enroll in the Cours Simon a Parisian drama school.
Little trivia. And Godfather of Harlem, his character is from Paris. So
so he's got that French sort of
backstory. A lot of times, some of these actors' backstory is true to life. So I think that's pretty. To me, like something like that, I think is cool.
Like, that really is cool. You play that, and then it's like part of about that. And then TBJ alluded to the merchant tribe elder, the older lady, Dorothy Steele. She started her acting career at age 88, and she died at 90. She was 95, so she's no longer with us now. But like she just started. She was from Detroit originally, I think. And then moved to Georgia and then started acting when she was in her 80s. M'Baku's played by Winston Duke, who was born in Tobago, moved to Brooklyn, graduated from Brighton High School and Rochester, New York, home of the Barons. Also went to that school, Kristen Wiig, same school as M'Baku. Anyway, that's all we're going to say. We went on and on about God knows what, and we never got to the movie, but it's time to get out of here because it's late and we have to sleep.
Right.
You have to work tomorrow, Artstar?
Yeah, I work tomorrow.
What time do you work?
I think 3.
Oh, 3 p.m. So you're not going to bed. I'm going to bed. I got to be at work at like 10, I think. So I'm all stuffed up. The pollen is unbelievable. I've been sneezing all night. But are you going to sing us out, Artstar? Next episode, we will hopefully have TBJ, Professor Andy, Artstar, and myself, and
the whole entire crew.
And we're going to get into the movie.
And we're so glad we had this time together.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd Skool podcast.
Say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end in racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems, Mr. Officer. Now they POTUS look like me, you gon' think again when seeing brothers rolling down the street. Every Martin Luther King on his American dream, still a Rodney being beaten, screaming fuck the police. Me, I'm running through the pasture, trying to get away from master, but the dogs is on my ass, I gotta move a little faster. Can't pass for Caucasian, but I got a couple papers from the plantation saying I graduated, congratulations. Cool beans, but to most school mean trying to dodge STDs, living off government cheese. Trust the government, please. Not even if it was me sitting in the Oval Office as commander-in-chief, trying to give us free. But there's a nigga in my ear saying, you got it, Superman, you ought to keep it here. Get this distinctly clear, I'm all about jetting. Raps Kunta Kinte without the half-stepping. A new chapter, back with new lessons. After that, the final exam. Any questions?
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.